What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a pretty important topic and piece of news that just recently came out, which is going to affect quite a significant portion of buyers in the 2021 Ontario real estate market, and that is the title of today's video: how the new stress test will affect the real estate market. And before we dive into it, if you're new here, what's up? My name is Andre. I'm a real estate agent here in Ontario servicing Barrie and the Simcoe area, and on this channel I make real estate related videos like this one. Check them out if you like it. Also drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this video. So the 2021 real estate market started off on a crazy foot, and it's still kind of going on a rampage till now, which you're probably hearing about every single day. But we had lineups at listings, crazy list to sale ratios, new price records being broken almost every single week, and that lasted anywhere between January to end of February, mid-March. From that point forward, we have seen a steady supply of new listings coming to the market, which has cooled down that real estate market. Now, what does the definition of cool down mean in this real estate market? It essentially means less competition per listing, meaning buyers have a better chance of getting the property. We've dropped from 20 offers to maybe 5 or 3. Prices have not dropped, but they've definitely tapered off in their growth. Buyers have a better chance of purchasing a property now with all the new inventory on the market than they did in January and February, but prices have still steadily gone up, so it's not exactly a win-win scenario in this case. Yes, if you buy now, there's more inventory and it's great to get yourself into a property, but if you bought in January and February, there's a very good chance that your property has already appreciated, maybe even quite significantly in value since then. But this steady new supply of listings is definitely beneficial. We're already slowly starting to see the impacts of it, where properties are being listed closer to market value as opposed to just being grossly underlisted between $100,000 to like $500,000 under market value with no intention of selling there, just to get people through the door. We are seeing listings coming onto the market closer to what they want to sell for, which I think is really beneficial for everyone. Now, what is this new stress test? Well, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, which I'll throw up here, has proposed that on June 1st, they want to increase the qualifications for the current stress test, which will essentially mean that individuals will have access to less money for borrowing. Now, for what we're going to talk about, these are just proposed changes. There's nothing written yet, but in this case, it's better to be prepared for it to happen than suffering the consequences of thinking it won't happen, and the consequences in this case being able to borrow less money. Here's my take on it as an active real estate agent working in the market, and I've already spoken to quite a few mortgage brokers regarding this as well. I don't think this new stress test is going to flip the market on its face and we're going to go back to what it was in January or February, but it's very likely going to bring back some of that competition that we've seen cooling off. And here's why. This new stress test change is proposed only towards uninsured mortgages, which are mortgages that have a 20% down payment or more. Meaning if you are a buyer that is searching underneath the $1 million price range and are only putting 5% down towards your property, this does not affect what you would qualify for. And since this is a very large portion of the real estate buying market, it is not going to create some crazy frenzy or a deadline where every purchaser must buy a property before June 1st, or else they're not going to be able to qualify what they were initially pre-approved for. That being said, for buyers looking in the $1 million+ range, for which in Canada requires a minimum 20% down payment or more, or investors looking to purchase another investment property which also requires 20% down, this is going to do one of two things. Number one, prior to June 1st, we're probably going to see a spike in activity as the hundreds of buyers that qualify for these parameters essentially now have a deadline that they need to purchase by. For reference, the current stress test rate is 4.79%, and essentially that rate is an average of the 5 big banks and their lending rates that you need to qualify for in order to get financing. But this proposed change in question wants to increase that rate from 4.79% to 5.25%. As an example, if you make $100,000 a year, you roughly qualify for around $700,000. But as of June 1st, you will now only qualify for $630,000. That's a pretty big difference on the financing aspect of it. And assuming this does happen, it's going to affect quite a big demographic that fits into that criteria. And like I mentioned, we're probably going to see a spike in activity as many of these buyers are going to feel pressured to purchase a property much sooner than expected. And number two, again, assuming that this does happen, we're probably going to see a dip in activity after June 1st, as all those buyers that weren't able to purchase a property up until that deadline now qualify for less. Some might go on hold, some might have to lower their search criteria, but if they want to lower the search criteria, they might not like the properties that they find there, even though it's just $70,000 on that one example that I gave. Once you get higher up in the price range, we're talking a lot more money, potentially even $100,000. And that's a really big difference between the type of property that you'll be able to purchase. This could potentially really affect the million-plus market in Toronto and Vancouver and really cool it down, as again, those people that were searching just above the $1 million price point will not be able to qualify for that and take a lot of buyers out of that market range. And as for real estate investors, which are now qualified to purchase less, they might potentially just withdraw from the market altogether and wait another 12 months to see if that rate is lower. To summarize it, in my opinion and perspective here, I really think this new proposed stress test change is an interesting step forward. They mentioned it in the article, which I'll link below, that they want to make sure, or part of this is to make sure that the Ontario financial system is secure in case interest rates do go up. I think on the other hand, they also just want to cool down that million-plus real estate market in Toronto and Vancouver. But it could have different effects than expected. Again, bringing back that competition that we've seen cooling off in the majority of the Ontario real estate market, and again, making it much more competitive for first-time home buyers to purchase a property. But this is really all just speculation. Until it's written and set to happen, we won't really know the exact effects of it. I will say, however, that we are currently looking for an investment property for our clients. Now, last week, we had 4 showings booked on a Sunday, half an hour each. We had the place to ourselves. There was no lineups before or afterwards, whatever it might be. Recently, 2 days after this whole stress test thing came out, we wanted to go look at 4 properties. 1 was sold, and the other 3, we only had 15-minute showings. Everything else was booked, and we had people waiting before us and after us. So I'm not sure if that says anything, but I definitely think that the media has a big effect on how people perceive things, and potentially just this announcement of this proposed change might have already kind of lit that fire underneath and brought some of that competition back. But again, it's really just speculation. We'll have to see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out some of my other videos if you like this one, and I will see you next week.